Yeah,
So
yeah.
I have to
No,
leave maybe 15 minutes um, before. Um,
15 minutes before the end of class, right?
yes, the before you end in the classes.
Sure, sure. No, that's great. That's great. No problems. As long as you can stay, that'll be really fun.
Yeah, because this topic, preposition of place, I think is the topic of the class.
Yes, yes. I think you've
Yes.
already studied this, right?
Yes, it's very important to me because I always confuse these prepositions.
Uh-huh.
Yes, I'm interested in the topic.
Great. No, fantastic. That's it's really good to see that we have good lessons for you guys. So,
Mm,
absolutely.
good. So now you work a lot in Colingo, no?
Yeah, yeah. I'm working a lot more in Colingo. I'm actually still figuring out my. I'm applying to graduate schools, and I'm also applying to other kinds of other kind of online programs and things like that.
Mhm.
So that's why I'm interested to see how things work out. But
Uh,
yeah.
if I don't know if you don't mind if I ask you what are you studying now?
Oh no, that's fine. I'm not actually studying anything
Mm,
particularly right now. I'm applying to graduate school for the fall of next year, so 1 year from now. And I'm just working for startups. I'm working for two startups. So
mm.
Colingo is a startup, and also um, I'll be working for this other startup starting next week. So
A startup? Sorry, I don't understand what startup.
yeah, a startup is just a type of company that is started by young people,
Okay.
using technology and those kinds
Mhm.
of things. So just like, Colingo is actually a startup.
Mm,
Colingo isn't this, it's not like Microsoft or Apple, right?
uh-huh.
It's a small company made by a small group of people.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I'm working on companies like that because
Uh-huh.
um, I like it. For 2 years, I was working for a very large company, and I didn't enjoy a lot of my time because I
Mhm.
was so busy. I felt like I wasn't learning anything.
Yes,
Um,
it happened to me too.
yeah.
I work for a company in a call center as a supervisor, but
Hmm.
no, it's how can I say that? A daily routine. It was a daily routine for me, and I think I was stuck
Hmm.
in the same area.
Hmm.
So yes, I didn't learn anything new. So now I'm looking for a job, but a different kind of job.
Hmm.
Maybe something like yes, a part-time job or that you enjoy time with friends and or you can have time to enjoy it with family and friends because in these works like call centers, you don't
Hmm.
have enough time to share with family and
Yeah.
friends, only for work and working and working all the time.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's one of those things that, makes it difficult to actually, do anything meaningful, I feel like, because your life is just dictated by the clock, right?
Uh-huh.
100%.
Yes, yes, you're
Yeah.
right. Mm.
So it makes it difficult.
But I think it's a good job, no? Because you can meet or yes, you can meet people from over the world
Yes.
in in this as a teacher, as an English teacher in Colingo. I think
Uh-huh.
it it has been a good experience, no, for all of you.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I really enjoy, speaking with you guys because every time I have a class, this is the only time that I can actually have a conversation with people from so many
Mhm.
different backgrounds, That's what makes it very, very, enjoyable for me.
And you
And,
can work from home.
yeah, I
So
can work from home,
much.
exactly. It's a big advantage. So even my other job is going to be um, in terms of working from home. I can design my own schedule. I can design what I
Mhm.
want, you know.
Mm,
So that's what makes it very, very fun for me also.
mhm. Mm.
Yeah.
So how long ago have you been working for Colin?
I started working for Colingo in July actually, so it's been about 3 months, almost 3 months now. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think it's been a great experience, and I want to see how I can help more. Not teaching I really enjoy, but if I can also help with the in the actual company, if I can do different kinds of things. So I'm excited. I'm really excited. We have that freedom now. I think in this is the first generation, right? That we are able to work from home and connect with people from all over the world. And just to really, I think the possibilities are almost limitless, right? When it comes to what we see. Yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
it's really fun. So Liliana, did you get a chance to open the PDF by any chance that I sent you on Facebook?
Yes, I sent you yesterday a message
Oh yeah, I saw
telling
that.
you that yes, that I saw it,
Uh-huh.
and yes, it's very useful. Thanks a
Yeah,
lot.
no problems. You're welcome. I wasn't sure. It was my first time sending something like that on Facebook, so I wasn't sure if you received it correctly. But
Yeah, yes, yes, because uh, I was watching something on online when I saw your message.
uh-huh.
I opened it. Yes, it's a good explanation. It's very good.
Nice. Nice, nice. That's good. I know that was probably the most difficult lesson because of all of the vocabulary,
Yeah.
right? Not only the vocabulary, homonym, heterograph, homograph. I mean, all of these different kinds of words, right? So having that chart is really, I think, makes the difference, right? So I was really happy to see that.
Yeah, it's very complex. But now
Yeah,
with this chart, it's clear for me.
yeah, that's great.
I know how to differentiate
Yeah,
all of them. And let me ask you something. Would you like to teach for beginners, real
yeah.
beginners in
I
Colingo?
will. I will. Absolutely, absolutely.
Because I have a neighbor. I think yes. She took some many classes with Colingo last year,
Uh-huh.
and now she's watching videos online with Colingo, and she said that she understood classes of 100 and 200 level,
Uh-huh.
and she told me that she won't able to join Colingo because she's afraid of speaking. she
Uh-huh.
because she's not fluent, she's a real beginner. And she told me that she watched your classes and she know that you know Spanish. So she said, it's good if maybe if Farhan could teach classes for real beginners because
Yeah, no, I would love to, honestly. I mean, mi español no es, no hablo completamente con fluidez, pero puedo hablar bien.
no, her Spanish is so good. I told you
Uh-huh.
before, and they need
Thank you.
a teacher who speak Spanish. For example, if they don't understand some word, you can explain them
Uh-huh.
in Spanish.
Yeah. I think definitely when it comes to translation, I can do a much better job than maybe if I was speaking, if there was a Colingo version of Spanish, right? If there was a Spanish version of Colingo, then I would maybe join the 400 level classes. And also, for me, the challenge is also conversation, right? So when it comes to Spanish, because I have friends who speak Spanish all the time with me, but sometimes we switch from English to Spanish, and because we live here, so there's that feeling that if I have a mistake, I can just go straight to English, right? But if I am forced to use Spanish, oh, I'm sure I will be learning a lot of different things.
Why don't you ask Daniel or Colingo's owner
Uh-huh.
to yes to teach a class for real beginners?
Yeah, no, I think that's a great idea. I will ask them. And I think that is something in our plan also, that we want to move Colingo in many different directions. And one direction is to move it to the level of, you have beginners that can also learn, as well as advanced, as well as anybody in the middle, right?
Yes, because I think maybe
Give me 1 second, Leon. I'm sorry.
hi Juan.
Hi.
Yes, go ahead,
How are you?
Liliana. Yeah.
No, I think they need yes, maybe less level, like 100 level, because they don't have a lot of fluency to
Mhm.
speak only English in classes. So they
Mhm.
need a teacher who knows Spanish as you or as
Yeah.
other in Colingdon
Absolutely.
to
Yeah.
yes to feel them more comfortable because she
No.
said no
No.
no I was able to join 100 level because maybe I couldn't speak fluent English.
No. No. Es mi placer. Es mi placer. Puedo
Mm-hmm.
ayudarle a ella.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely no problems. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I would love to. Yeah.
Yes, Daniel did these classes last year,
Uh huh.
and I think and she learned a lot with him, and then with I think Joe and Paul, and she continued studying with them, but they stopped these classes because I don't know what happened, but I think it would be great if they do it again
Yeah.
for real beginners.
Yeah. That's awesome. I think Daniel speaks Spanish, right?
Yes, yes, he
Daniel
speaks
speaks.
a good Spanish.
Uh huh.
He has how can I say? He speaks quite well. I don't know how to say that.
Yeah. He speaks quite well. Yeah. Exactly.
Quite
He
well.
speaks quite well. Yeah.
But
So
I know that
Daniel.
now he's really busy, so
Yeah. Super busy with
yes,
that
he
stuff.
doesn't have time to teach for Spanish speakers. But I
Uh
think
huh.
it would be great if you can do it again.
Absolutely. No, it's my pleasure actually. I would really I want to help folks, and Spanish is one of those languages that I want to I want to become super fluent,
Mhm.
Sometimes even when I talk with normal people, like and I can have a conversation, but I can't, if I'm speaking very formally, maybe I can't say, scientific things and things like that. But I want to be able to really just change between English and Spanish like that.
Mhm.
That
Yeah.
would be my goal. So yeah, it would help me, and if I can help them in the process, absolutely, I think that would be great.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for the suggestion, Liliana. We always
Yeah,
look for
you're welcome.
suggestions. Yeah,
Okay, you're welcome.
yeah. Hey, Juan, how's it going?
Hi, hi.
Bienvenido.
Thank you.
Yeah. How is life in Mexico today? It's like early morning. Buenos dias.
Buenos dias. Yes, you're right.
Yeah, yeah. Did you do anything interesting recently or anything fun?
No interesting. Fun.
Just normal?
Yeah, a normal life,
Nice.
a normal day, working.
Yeah. But it's finally a Friday, right?
Yeah, but well, for me, it's Friday, Monday is the same because I know into the when Friday comes, some people get a lunch and they thinking go party and something like that. But not for me. I am
Yeah.
an older man. I just looking for relax.
Nice, nice. That's awesome. That's awesome. Even young people are looking to relax like me. I do the same thing. I do the same
I
thing.
don't believe it. Maybe you have plans to go to disco or something like.
Tonight, I don't think so. It's too cold. I don't. It's too
Yeah.
cold outside. But no, yeah, absolutely. We might watch a movie or do something fun with our friends. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, guys. Well, thanks for joining. Let's get started then. So today we are going to be looking at two different things. The article that we're going to be looking at is actually a very interesting article, and I love the title, "The Art of War." Right? The Art of War. It was a book written by Sun Tzu. Sun Tzu was this Chinese military general from a long time ago. But in this example, in this class, we are not looking at that military book. We are looking instead at art in war, right? How do societies that are going through terrible, terrible tragedies, right, that are in a wartime situation, how did they use art to express their feelings, their suffering, right? So it's a very interesting article, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Before we get to that article, though, we will spend a little bit of time talking about the prepositions of place, right? So when we use prepositions of place, prepositions in general relate one object to another object, right? That's the main use of preposition. So the way I like to think of it, you can think of any two objects. Let's say the phone and the box, right? There's a box and there's a phone, right? You can say the phone is on the box, which would mean it's on top of the box. You could also say the phone is in the box, which would mean the phone is inside the box, right? You could say the phone is next to the box, right? Any sort of, all of these different kinds of things, these are prepositions of place that help us relate how one item is related to another item, right? The position of one item, the location of one item, compared to the location of another item, right? So when we can specifically use 3 types of prepositions when we are talking about prepositions of place, right? And these 3 types are on, in, and at, right? On, in, and at. So when we use on, we are talking about something that is resting on top of a surface, an object that is resting on top of another surface, right? So like I said before, maybe the phone is on the box, right? The phone isn't moving, it's just resting on top of the box, right? The food is on the table, right? That's a very good example also. The food is on the example. The clothes are on the floor, right? Sometimes people, when they are dirty, when they're messy, they throw everything on the floor. The clothes are on the floor, right? The map is on the wall, right? There's a big map on the wall, right? The children are sleeping on the sofa, right? The children are sleeping on the sofa. They're physically located on top of the sofa, right? So those are the first types of examples that we use on, and so it's talking about items or things that are resting on a surface, right? Any questions about this, guys?
No.
It's clear.
No.
That makes sense, right? Okay, great, fantastic. Then, so there's also another example. We also use on when we are talking about transportation, right? There is one exception. There's one exception. For car, we don't say somebody is on the car. We say somebody is in the car, right? So besides car, every other type of example that I can think of, at least as of right now, we use on, right? So he is on the bike. He is on his bike, right? She is on the motorcycle. He is on the bus. He is on the plane, right? He is on the boat, right? The second exception, guys. So car, we say in. For ship, we also say in.
Ship.
Right? For ship, we also say in. So he's in the ship. He's inside the ship, or he's in the ship. He is in the car.
In the taxi, no?
Yeah, go ahead, Juan. He's in the taxi. He's in the taxi as well. Yes. He's in the taxi. So car, ship, taxi, right? These are the kinds of examples where we use in.
Okay.
A taxi is technically a kind of car, right? So that's a good way that we can use to remember that, right? He's in the car. He is in the van also, right? So a van is a kind of car, right?
Small cars, we always use in, and big or public transportation is on.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of thinking about it. Absolutely. So even, for example, train, he is on the train.
The train.
He's on the train, right? So for truck, we also would say in the truck. He's in the truck, right? He's in the truck, he's in the van, he's in the car, he's in the taxi, he's in the ship, right? But he is on the boat. Right? So these are some specific examples. We say on the boat, but in the ship, right? So transportation, talking about transportation. Also, if you are riding something, right? If you're riding a horse, he is on the horse. He is on the elephant. He's on the camel, right? All this time, he's on the alpaca, right? Whatever animal, right? He's on an animal, right? So those are examples that we use for that, right? Any questions, guys, about the transportation things? So these words with using transportation, using riding something. Yeah.
Just I am a little bit confused about shit on boat. What is the mainly difference between these main ways of transportation?
So the main difference is that for most of them we use on, right? So he's on the plane. If it's a form of, let's say, public transportation, right?
maybe I don't be the correct ask.
That's fine.
Is concrete between ship and boat.
Ah,
Why is on boat? Because
fantastic
they
question.
are medium of transport.
Yes, yes, yes. So both of them are mediums of transport, right? But with the ship, it's the difference between the boat and the ship is a boat is, for example, a much smaller vessel, right? It's a much smaller vessel, maybe 3 or 4 people on a boat, right? Whereas the ship is like the large ship, maybe for the navy, maybe for the military, or when people go on cruises, right? Those are ships.
Okay, so
Ships are bigger.
on in ship.
It is somebody is on the ship.
Okay.
On the ship, yeah. On the ship.
In the ship, on the boat?
Hold on, guys. Did I just make a mistake? Hold on. He is on the boat. He's in the ship. He is on the boat. He is in the ship. That's right. That's right. So ship follows the same thing as taxi, car, van, all of those examples.
It's smaller than a boat.
No, see, so this is where it's confusing. In this example, it's not size, guys. It's honestly not size. Ship is just we use on the ship, even though the ship is a very large. A ship is a large boat.
Okay.
A ship is a large boat. Like a boat is very small, but we use on the ship and in the boat.
English.
It's English, honestly, guys. It's English, right? So a ship is a very large boat, right? A very large vessel. Like think about the Navy, right? The Navy has ships, right? And we say on the ship, but in the boat, unfortunately.
Okay.
It's a confusing thing, Juan.
An assertion.
No. Just that you say it the opposite before, so that's why I was thinking.
Yeah, I think I was confused. Juan, because I was talking about these different things.
It got sense. Okay.
Yeah, fantastic. Lilian, I'm sorry. Did you say something?
No. I think on the cruise.
On the cruise, yeah, on the cruise. Fantastic. So think about it like that, right? On the cruise ship. That way you can remember it. Cruise and ship both use on.
Okay.
I'm on the cruise ship, right? I'm on the cruise. I'm on the ship. I'm on the cruise ship. That was really good, Liliana. That was very good. I'm going to write that down actually as something for future classes, right? On the cruise ship. Fantastic. Okay. So then the other types of words. So okay. Let's make a sentence then. Can we make a sentence using on? Let's start with Juan.
Okay. The other day I was reading on a horse.
The other day I was riding on a horse. Right? Fantastic. The other day I was riding on a horse. Liliana.
Okay. I will travel on the boat to the nearest island.
I will travel. It can't be on the boat, right, Liliana?
On the boat to the nearest island.
Well, we want to use in the boat, right?
On.
For boat, we have to use in, right?
In the ship, on the boat.
No. You have it switched. It's on the ship and in the boat. Remember, Liliana, when we just said on the cruise ship?
On the cruise ship.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Yes. Sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
On the ship, in the boat.
Yes.
Okay. I'll travel in the boat to the nearest island.
Fantastic. I will travel in the boat to the nearest island, right? Or if you're saying something like that, where if it's you are traveling somewhere using something, right? We can also say, I will travel by boat.
By boat.
By boat, or by ship, or by car, or by a plane. I'll travel by plane, right?
With all transportation.
Yes.
By
Yes.
By car, by bike.
In this example, if you're saying I will travel and then by, and then your mode of transportation, right? Yeah. But if you're talking about location, then location we'd use on the boat, on the ship, and in the boat. On the ship and in the boat. Fantastic. Does that make sense now, Liliana?
Yes, it's clear.
Okay, so let's move on a little bit, and we are going to look at in, right? So when do we use in? In we use when we are talking about things that are defined by boundaries, right? They're defined by boundaries. They're defined by some kind of a boundary, right? So, for example, let's say the location is somebody's room, right? The room has boundaries, right? The apartment, the room, they all have boundaries, right? So he is in the room, or he is in the he is in the room, he is in the house, right? He is
In the school, in the university.
yeah. See, that's the thing, guys. I don't want to confuse us because we do have situations where school and home we actually use at, right? School and home we actually use at. In, think about it as locations that have a boundary. So the house does have a boundary, but we don't look at the house as a specified location with specific boundaries. Home, or he is at home, is home is kind of an idea, right? Home is an idea, whereas house is a location, right?
Okay.
So for we would say he is in the house, or he is in the house, but we would say he is at home, right? So at home or at school, because school, like home, is an idea, right? We can't really draw a border for a school. The school could be many. It could be many floors, many, big place, small place, right? So
He's in the classroom.
he's in the classroom. Fantastic, fantastic, right? If you can designate the border of a location in your mind, if you can picture a location with borders, then we use in, right? So
it's clear.
yeah. So he is in the room. He is in the classroom. He is in the elevator, right? He's in the elevator because you can clearly imagine elevator. Okay, small location, walls, corners, right? You can imagine all of that. So in we use for those kinds of things, right? We also use ins for any location that is defined by. So we said boundaries before, right? Any location with a boundary. So for example, countries, right? He is in Algeria. He is in Mexico. He is in Japan, right? Countries have boundaries, right? We can also say for water or for natural medium like liquid or gas, we use in, right? He's in the water. He's in the air, right? So yeah, I'm sorry, Liliana, go ahead.
In the river.
In the river, yeah, exactly. Because we're surrounded. He's in space. He's in outer space. Right? He's in space, he's in the air, he's in the river, he's in the water, he's in the sand, right? Somebody is actually inside the sand, maybe having fun on the beach, right? He's in the sand, right? And for classrooms, for locations, for countries, right, we use in. So could we give an example, guys, of using that? So Liliana, how would we maybe make a sentence?
Okay, I am swimming in the sea.
I'm swimming in the sea. Fantastic. Or I'm swimming in the river. I'm swimming in the ocean, the lake. Yeah, any type of example. Exactly, swimming pool, right? I'm swimming in the swimming pool. Hey, Ken, welcome to class.
Yes, thank you.
So, could you give us a sentence with in, Ken?
Okay. Can I say I will in the online class?
I will be in the online class.
Yeah. Or
Right.
on?
You can say, so for on, remember we would say, you can say I am logging on to the online class,
Okay, yes.
right? So we have the separate verb of log on that we can use, I am logging on to the online class. But if you're saying that you are in class, then you would, or if you're saying that you're part of a class, we should use in class.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm logging on the class.
I'm logging on to the class.
I'm
logging on to the class, right? That's what makes it a little bit easier, a little bit confusing, but a little bit easier also. Because we think of log on in email and all those kinds of things all the time, right? So we can use log on for any kind of situation like that. I'm logging on to the class, right? It looks like we have somebody new. Hey, Kim, how's it going?
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you. And
Welcome.
you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Welcome to class.
Yeah, thank you.
So, were you listening, Kim, or did you just join right now?
I have been listening your class a few minutes ago.
Okay.
So I feel some interested. I feel some interesting in your class.
Okay.
So I just get in the class.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic,
Yeah.
fantastic. Welcome. Well, we are a little short on time, so if you have questions about the things we are talking about, let us know. Otherwise, I will move on to the next part of the lesson, if that's okay. All right, Kim?
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Let us know if you have any questions. And Juan, what is an example of a sentence using in, for example?
I met some friends in the classroom.
I met some friends in the what? What was the last one?
The classroom.
In the classroom, right? I met some friends in the classroom. Fantastic, right? I met some friends in the classroom. So remember, guys, we use in once again for when we are describing a location that has boundaries, right? That has a set boundary. So in the house, in the car, right? In the elevator, in a country, right? Those are all examples of in, right? Any questions, guys, about in or on so far?
No.
No.
Yes, only one.
Yes.
For example, I say I am in the building or at the building.
So this is now the next stage, right?
Okay.
When we use at, okay, when do we use at? We use at when we are talking about the position of things in a specific point, okay? Or something that is not specific but understood to be like maybe you have reached somewhere or you are physically somewhere that can either be a specific point or understood from the context of the conversation. Okay? So what does that mean? That means that in really means that you are physically in a location. That's what separates at and in a little bit more, right? So in, you are physically inside a location that has boundaries, right? Except for the few examples we saw when it was boat and car that both use in the car, in the boat, right? The other examples, air, sand, space, right? Countries, right? These we use if you are physically inside a location, we use in. If you have reached a location, but you are just indicating that you are there, then we use at, right? So let's say you're driving and you come to the building. You haven't gone inside. You're still outside the building, but you have reached the building. You say, I am at the building, right? If you are physically inside the building, then we would use in the building, right?
I'm outside the building or in front of the window of the building. Sorry, I say I'm at the building.
Exactly, right? And so, for example, there are some other ways that we use this, right? Some specific examples. I am at school, right? We use I am at school, I am at home. And those mean that you are inside, right? Those technically do mean that you are inside, right? But these are the two exceptions that I can think of right now. Like I am at school, I am at home, even though you're not, because I guess with these two examples, when you think about it, right, why would somebody be waiting outside their house? Right? Why would somebody be waiting outside the school? Right? If you are saying normal daily activities, I'm at home, okay, he's inside the house. Or I'm at school, he's inside the house, right? So this is where that context part comes in, right? Either it's a specific point when you use at, or you understand it based on context. If it doesn't make sense, then we use, if it doesn't make sense that we say in, or I guess, the real idea is there are these specific types when we use at, but otherwise we use in if we're talking physically in a location. right? So that I think is more a little bit better way to kind of think about it. One example that I think will help is, he is at the door, right? He's at the door. So just like we were saying at the building, he's at the door. He's waiting outside the door for somebody, right? He's at the door. And then for specific places, right? So he is at the top of the mountain. He is at the bottom of the ocean, right? So these are specific points. He's at the top of the mountain, or he is at the bottom of the ocean, right? Those are all examples. School and home and work. Another one is work, right? He is at work. He is at home. He is at school, right?
University.
He's at college, right? He's at college. He's at university, right? We use this a lot. So thinking about, let's think about it this way, guys. I'm going to rephrase what I said. When we are talking about at, we are talking about a general state in terms of a location, a place where you spend some time, right? A place where you spend a significant amount of time at school, at college, at home, at work, right? At university. These are ways that we use at, or we use at for specific locations. Like he is at the door, right? He is at the top of the mountain, right? And then we use in for more when you are physically inside a location, or physically inside a location that has boundaries, like a country, or a natural medium like water, sand, something like that, right? Air. So does that make sense, guys? Okay. Juan, you said a good some sentences here. At the corner of the street, wait for me at the park. Fantastic.
For example, here in this last sentence, what could be the difference between wait for me in the park or wait for me at the park?
Great question. So if somebody says wait for me in the park, that would mean that you want them to be inside the park, but where? Right? It's a little bit confusing because remember how within we have to really be. It should be. The park does have boundaries, right? The park does have boundaries, but if you are telling somebody to meet you somewhere, we use at to indicate that you get there. You reach that destination, and that's where you'll find me, right? In is really much more that you are physically in a location, right? You are physically, like let's say the park has a small, restaurant or something, then you can say meet me in the restaurant, right? Meet me in the restaurant. But then once again, if you say meet me at the restaurant, that would mean that you are waiting outside the restaurant for this person. Just like meet me at the building, or I was at the building, right?
Okay.
For a location like park, yes, if you are telling somebody to see you there, we use at, right? I realize this is confusing, guys, but this is sometimes in English, that's how things are. I mean, they have rules and they have an exception to every one of these rules, right? So meet me at the park, meet me at the corner, right? Corner is that corner is a specific point, and in we use for a physical location, especially if you're inside something, but also if we are talking about boundaries, that kind of a thing. Does that help a little bit, Juan?
Oh, yeah, yes.
Okay, I know that this is confusing. Let's do that actually. Let's spend a couple of minutes, guys. So just 2 minutes. Liliana, I know you have to leave soon, but could you give us an example of a sentence with at?
Okay. I saw you. I saw you in front of. I don't know. No. I saw you pass in front of the no. At. Okay, no. I saw you at the street. I don't know.
Oh, see, this is a great example now. Great example,
In the
Liliana.
street, on the street, I don't know how.
I saw you in the street. Yeah,
In.
I saw you in the street. And how does that make sense? God knows, honestly. God knows, right? I saw you in the street. We are not physically in a location, right? But that's how we say it.
Always in the street.
We use in the street, yes, yes.
Okay, no, so
We
I change it up.
We can say at the corner of the street, at the intersection of the street, right? But we don't say in the street. I saw you on the street. Right? How crazy is that, guys? I take the responsibility for English being such a ridiculous language. I personally apologize to all of you for how ridiculous this language is, right?
I saw you in the street, yes?
I saw you in the street, exactly. I saw you in the street.
At the intersection of the street.
I saw you at the intersection of 1st and 2nd Street, right? Something like that. You can be even more specific, right? I saw you at the corner of 1st and 3rd Avenue, or 1st and 2nd Avenue, right?
Okay.
So that is a specific point. That's where at is really used because it's a specific point.
Okay, I know.
Right?
Okay, I changed it. Okay.
But street is in, yeah.
Okay, I have a meeting at the university this evening.
I have a meeting at the university this evening. Fantastic. Fantastic, right? So remember how we use at when we are talking about maybe a general period of time where you're somewhere, right? Think about it like that, guys. So at school, at work, at the university, right? It's a general thing. I have a meeting at the university, right? And then if you want to be specific, I have a meeting in room 300 at the university, right? In room 300. So room, it's that physical location. It's enclosed. It has boundaries, right? But a big idea like a school, home, or university, at the university, at home, at school, right? At work, right? Where you spend more time. It's a more general location, right? At the park, like if you're saying I took a walk in the park, right? You were walking in the park, but meet me at the park, right? I took a walk in the park, but meet me at the park, right? We almost always use, whenever we use meet, we almost always use at, right? Meet me at school. Yeah.
For example, I walk down walk on the campus, and meet me at the campus.
Meet me at the campus. I walked
on campus.
Yeah, yeah. I walked on campus. Oh my God.
I see.
Why is it on the campus? I walked on the campus? No, actually, this is a situation, guys, where we can use both. This is a situation where we can use both, guys. I walked in the campus. I walked on the campus because. Have you guys heard the phrase on campus? Just in general, on campus.
Yes.
Right? This is a special case, Ken. A special case. If there are events that are on campus, then we can say, I was walking around on campus. I was walking on campus. We can say, but this is a special case. You don't say I was walking on school or I was walking on university. You say campus because it's a specific. This is an exception to the exception. Right? So I was walking around on campus. I was walking on campus. But otherwise, I was walking in the campus. That perfectly works fine. I would have no problems with that. I have no problems with that, right? But great question, though. Great question. Every time we see these examples, I feel like I should just crawl up and just hide from you guys because it makes me so sad when I see all these different things, right? So complicated, right? Okay, so let's go to, so Kim, would you mind sharing a sentence with us using at?
My friends waiting for me at the building.
Fantastic, fantastic. My friends are waiting for me at the building. You wait for somebody at a location. You meet somebody at a location.
Yeah.
Generally, right? So great job with that. Those are two things, guys. Keep in mind, right? Meet and wait. Use at, right? Meet me somewhere. Wait for me somewhere. right? Wait for me at the park. Wait for me at the corner. Wait for me at my house. Wait for me at the door. Meet me at the park. Meet me at the store, right? All of these examples we use at, right? We use in when we are physically talking about inside somewhere, right? For the difference between at and in here, right? It'll take practice, guys. I promise you, the more you speak and listen to these examples, the more it'll make sense, right? So I think, Ken, because you had heard on campus before, right? You wanted to ask about this, right? And
Yeah.
that's exactly what I'm talking about, guys. There are hundreds of examples of locations, right? On campus, at the university, at the school. That when you hear these examples, that's really when things change. That's really when it makes you much easier, right? All right, Liliana, take care. Yeah. So Juan, could you give us an example using at?
Yeah, why not? I spent my whole weekend at home.
I spent my whole weekend at home. Fantastic, fantastic. And then Ken, could you give us one last example with at?
At why don't we meet at Colingo?
Why don't we meet at? Well, is Colingo a physical location?
At the bar Colingo.
Why don't we meet at the Colingo bar?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, sure. If that was a location, fantastic, fantastic, right? Why don't we meet? Why don't we meet on or at the Colingo bar? Fantastic, fantastic, right? But if it's a virtual thing like the internet, we would say let's meet up on Colingo.
Yeah.
If it's a virtual log on, log off kind of thing, then we would use on, right? Yeah. Any questions, guys? I know there are many questions, but any specific questions about any of this stuff, or general questions, anything?
So,
Yeah.
walking on the street, is it correct or?
It is, you know. And the way, Kim, I think the best way to think about that is, we heard earlier, Ken was saying about walking on campus. When we use the verb walk, we should use on, right? Generally, it's better to use on, because if you say I was walking around in the building, for example, you can say in the building because it's that physical location in the building, right?
Yeah.
Or you in the hallways of the building. I was walking in the hallways, or I was walking in the building. I was walking around in school, right?
Yeah.
Or you can say I was walking in the hallway, or I already said that, or I was walking in the corridor, right? But when it's a road or a street or the beach, we use on, right? I was walking on the beach. I was walking on the street. I was walking on the sidewalk, right? So these are those specific examples when we use on, right? Great question. Any other questions, guys, about this stuff?
So we cannot say walking on the street.
We can say walking on the street. That's the best way to use it, right? Walking on the street. I was walking down the street. I was walking on the street. Both of them work.
How about I walk in the street? It's incorrect.
I was walking in the street. Do we say that? I was walking in the street. I was walking in the street. You know, Ken, it's a little bit better to use on.
Okay, yeah.
But because it's just the way it is, it's one of these things where really the description of in being a physical location or being a place with boundaries, we can use that perhaps because we have the situation with if you're saying something is in the street is almost saying it's inside the street, right?
Okay.
So Juan, I was walking in the Fifth Avenue is incorrect.
Incorrect. Okay.
How would we say it? What's the word that we would use instead of in?
I was walking on the 5th Avenue.
I was walking on the Fifth Avenue. I was walking on Fifth Avenue. Yeah. I was walking on Fifth Avenue. So we actually don't have to say the. We can say I was walking on Fifth Avenue.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, fantastic, guys. All right, guys, so we have a couple minutes left. I wanted to quickly look at the article and then start the rest, or maybe ask one question about the article. Let us take a look then. So here, I think you guys will enjoy the article. It's kind of a very interesting article about the art that we see in countries that are going through a lot of suffering and a lot of war. Right. So you guys have the link there. I'm going to quickly, let's see, we're going to screen share this. Right. So it says, the art of war. Okay. Can Syrian artists save Aleppo's soul? Aleppo is a city in Syria, right? So the sentence here is, people don't only survive by food and water. They survive by art, right? So Beirut, Lebanon. One day this summer, a group of mostly young civilians navigated the warrens. This warren is another word for road. Navigated the warrens of Aleppo's Christian quarter toward the deadly and often fluctuating front line between Syrian government forces and the rebels fighting the regime. Just a few years ago, the neighborhood, called Jadede, hosted fine dining and boutique hotels housed in centuries-old mansions, the kind of attractions that lured Western tourists to a country just beginning to open up to the world. But more than a year since Syria's largest city became ensnared. Ensnared means to become really like a big mess. It becomes part of a big, complicated mess. Since Syria's largest city became ensnared in the raging civil war, the area is now a dangerous battleground. Above an alley roughly 20 meters from the front line, the group of young artists hung up their latest project, a bunch of compact discs carefully arranged to spell out a message in both Arabic and English. Art is peace, the CD reads, right? See this right here, this is what they made. Art is peace, right? The initiative that brought the CD project to life is one of the latest by 48-year-old Issa Touma, an eccentric and bespectacled. Bespectacled means someone who wears glasses. So I am bespectacled, right? An eccentric and bespectacled Armenian Christian native of Aleppo. A staple of the city's cultural scene before the war, Touma is a photographer who runs an art gallery there. You can often spot him for the wide-brimmed hats he wears to work. So this is the guy, Touma, that they're talking about. Since the war came to Aleppo in July 2012, more than a year after Syria's uprising started, Touma's efforts have been focused on art camping, a group he created primarily as an outlet for local youth. In the hours of phone and Skype interviews in July and August, Touma provided a glimpse into what remains of Aleppo's cultural scene, along the way describing his own attempts at keeping art alive in the besieged city. Art camping invites young people to learn about, practice, and eventually share art with the people of the city and refugees who fled to Aleppo from other parts of Syria. Through the project, Touma hopes the group will return a semblance of normalcy to his war-torn hometown. We were thinking that if war comes to Aleppo, we should really have something to help the people survive. Touma says he knows creating art might seem trivial in a place where food stocks are dangerously low, electricity is sporadic, and daily death counts high. More than 100,000 people have been killed in the fighting since March 2011, the United Nations says. But for the veteran artist, it is a crucial part in surviving the war and resisting its dehumanization. People don't only survive by food and water, Touma said. They survive by art, right? So I think it's a very, very powerful story, right? Because you see this country that is going through civil war now for 2 years. 100,000 people have already been killed, and this man's mission, really, with his project, is to use art to express the beauty of his city, the beauty of his country, and also to give people hope, right? What do you guys think about this? Ken, what do you think about this?
This story reminds me of a famous psychologist who captured by Nazis. He survived, Holocaust camp, and I forgot his name, but famous psychologist, and he, even though he such a severe circumstances, he tried to find one joke, and he shared that joke with people in that concentration camp,
Mm-hmm.
and he wrote about the book. Maybe that's one of the reason. That was one of the reason why he could survive in insane. I mean, I insane. Not being crazy. I mean, you know.
He could
So
survive such an insane circumstance, right? Inside such such a horrible
and
concentration camp.
he keep not crazy situation, even though such circumstance. So maybe human needs something to survive, to rely on, even though there's such a, especially in such a extreme condition.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, absolutely. Juan, what do you think about this?
Well, yeah, as I can say, or maybe is another concept, but what I think is this guy is trying to keep busy the minds of these guys because not only talk in the war and to keep in doing something is a certain way to distract what is happening now.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, I think it's a good idea to why not to make art instead
Mm-hmm.
of instead thinking and go into the war or be involved in situations that are not concerned maybe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely, right. And it's one of those things that, honestly, if you, I mean, I think Juan, are you an artist? Because I think you design things yourself, right, in your job. I think you said,
You can say it because I use design furnitures, but
uh-huh.
I never talk as an art, but could be, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's a form of art, right? If you are designing something from with your own ideas, with your own hands, I think that's a form of art, right? Uh, does it take your energy from maybe does it allow you to focus on, I guess, is art an expression of your soul to a certain extent, right? Can that be said about art that it helps remove your focus from what is happening outside and really allows you to concentrate on something that is very creative? Would you guys say that's the case with art?
Yeah, yeah. I think it's the main point to keep your mind busy.
Yeah, to keep your mind busy, to keep your mind off of maybe all these kind of tragedies that are happening, right? Um, and I mean, do you think we can? Is there a way that you know? Do you think this campaign that they're doing? I mean, it's definitely attracted some international attention, but is this perhaps something that can be spread to other towns in Syria, or do you think maybe this city is in a special situation and it's not something that is always the case in a war? What do you think about that, Ken?
mm, actually, I think at least the art or this kind of thing can change the mood of the people. And people mood create war and politics or peace.
Mm-hmm.
So if uh, if people mood changes in accordance with this art movement, and something different things will happen in Syria.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. If more people are looking to, I guess if people are share the same, human element of creativity, and if the art is able to change the mood of people in one city, right? Perhaps it can also change the mood of people living in other cities, right?
Yes.
Changing the humanity of the situation, right?
Yeah.
Juan, do you think this is also something that maybe this guy and his group can maybe export to other parts of Syria, or is that unrealistic in a country that has so much suffering and war and armies and fighting?
No, no, no. I think it's very realistic, and why not? Yeah, for sure you can share with the world. Why not? Maybe as a how to say, you can buy his art just for helping these people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely, absolutely. You can buy the art, you can support this art, right? And it I don't know if they're selling, but I think maybe if one day peace comes to that country, people will be able to buy this art, or at least maybe museums can show this art and say, this is what kept us alive during those horrible years, right? This kind of expression was what helped us remain hopeful, right? So, and I think, Ken, I think Japan also had a very beautiful history with this. There was a girl who made paper cranes after
Yeah.
the Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombings,
Yeah.
right?
Kind of, I don't know what, it could be a Japanese tradition. People, make a 1,000 crane, paper crane, for wishing peace, or wishing recover from the person, or wishing good luck for the person.
Yeah, and
So,
this is called origami, right?
yes, origami, yes.
Origami, yeah. So, and I think the girl, she died when she was very young, right?
Yes.
But because she was affected by the radiation, I think, right?
Yes.
But she made 1,000, or she made many more than 1,000, I think. She made a lot of cranes.
Actually, this paper craft is for, I think, not for her, for other people. Usually,
Ah,
1,000 paper cranes, the gift for other people to mainly to recover from illness.
okay.
Yes.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, it's beautiful, and even when I was in like elementary school many, years ago, we made paper cranes. We learned how to do origami, and we learned this girl's story, right? So the art that comes from war, that emerges from war, is a very, very, it's an expression of true courage, I think, right?
Yeah.
Because so many things can distract you in war. You have your family, you
Yeah.
have to worry about food, you have to worry about shelter, and you don't know if you're going to be alive the next day.
Yeah. So not only her, a lot of people suffers, for the atomic bomb, and maybe she's wishing for their recovery by making these paper cranes.
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, so anyway, guys, I know we've been going on for a while. We talked a lot about at and on and in, and then at the end we looked at this article. Do we have any questions, guys, about the stuff we looked at in this article, or the concepts? I know for at, on, in, guys, honestly, practice makes perfect for some of these examples. We have the rules, right? So, for example, with meet and weight, we use at. For physical locations, that if you are inside them, if it's a boundary, if it's a country, we use in, right? And for on, it's if it's on a surface, or riding on a horse, or a type of transportation on the bus. But then we have the three exceptions: in the boat, in the car, in the taxi, those kinds of things, right? We do have those exceptions as well. But any other kind of questions that ran across your minds when you were looking at the article or thinking about this?
Okay, let me try to say that.
Yeah.
For example, for me, that I only try to learn English in order to communicate with other people. I don't see a big deal if I commit that kind of error. For example, if I talk with someone and I said I was riding in a horse. Maybe I am wrong, but the other person understood that I was riding a horse. So for me, it's not a big deal, this kind of things of grammar, but it's okay, or it's well to know about it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. People will definitely understand you, Juan. People definitely understand you because the words are very similar, right? On and in. I mean, very similar, and there are so many overlapping scenarios, right? So like we say on a horse, but we say in a car, right? I mean, people will definitely understand, and they'll be able to, they can understand you, they can forgive you for that error, right? It's not a big deal. Absolutely, it's not a big deal.
I believe
Yeah.
me, I don't try to write a book or something like that.
No, I understand. Even when we write books, even when I am asked to write something, you will not believe the number of times I think to myself, why do I have to do this? Why is this so complicated, right? So many different things. It's just the nature of this language, unfortunately. Many exceptions to rules, right? But yeah, no. Go ahead. Yeah.
The better you write, or the better you speak is better for me and for the other person who is listening.
Yeah. Sometimes it helps a lot. It helps a lot. The writing and seeing the words, they help your brain connect the idea, and it's helpful. Yeah. If there's things I can do, if you guys prefer that, as I go through the class, if I write more stuff too, or if I pause, give more examples, right? Those are all good ideas that I can, good suggestions that I can incorporate. So, yeah, thank you guys. Any other questions though? Ken, did you have any questions?
No.
Everything sounds good? Everything is
Yes.
good?
Yes.
Okay, great guys. Thank you once again. If you guys have time, maybe you can read this article. I really enjoyed it, but we didn't have enough time to read the whole thing.
Yes.
Otherwise, I have 2 classes later tonight, and until then, have a great day, everyone.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yep. Take care, guys.
Have a nice day. Take care.
Yeah,
Bye.
you too, Ken. Bye-bye.
I sent you yesterday a message.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
You that yes, that I saw it.
Uh-huh.
And yes, it's very useful. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, no problems. You're welcome. I wasn't sure. It was my first time sending something like that on Facebook, so I wasn't sure if you received it correctly.
Yeah, yes, because I was watching something on online when I saw your message.
Uh-huh.
I opened it. Yes, it's a good explanation. It's very
Nice. Nice. That's good. I know that was probably the most difficult lesson because of all of the vocabulary, right? Not only the vocabulary, homonym, heterograph, homograph. I mean, all of these different kinds of words, right? So having that chart is really, I think, makes the difference, right? Mm-hmm. So I was really happy to see that.
Yeah, it's very complex.
Yeah.
With this chart, it's clear for me.
Yeah, that's great.
I know how to differentiate
yeah.
all of them. And let me ask you something. Would you like to teach for beginners? Real beginners?
I will. Absolutely.
Because I have a neighbor. I think yes. She took many classes with Colingo last year. And now she's watching videos online with Colingo, and she said that she understood classes of 100 and 200 level, and she told me that she wasn't able to join Colingo because she's afraid of speaking, because she's not fluent, she's a real beginner. And she told me that she watched your classes and she know that you know Spanish. So she said, it's good if Farhan could teach classes for real beginners. Because
I would love to, honestly. I mean, mi español no es, no hablo completamente con fluidez, pero puedo hablar bien.
No, your Spanish is so good. I told you before. And they need a teacher who speak Spanish. For example, if they don't understand some word, you can explain in Spanish.
Yeah, I think definitely when it comes to translation, I can do a much better job than maybe if I was speaking. If there was a Colingo version of Spanish, right? If there was a Spanish version of Colingo, then I would maybe join the 400 level classes. And also, for me, the challenge is also conversation, right? So when it comes to Spanish, because I have friends who speak Spanish all the time with me, but sometimes we switch from English to Spanish, and we live here, so there's that feeling that if I have a mistake, I can just go straight to English, right? But if I am forced to use Spanish, oh, I'm sure I will be learning a lot of different things.
Why don't you ask Daniel or Colingo's owner to yes, to teach a class for real beginners?
Yeah, no, I think that's a great idea. I will ask them. And I think that is something in our plan also, that we want to move Colingo in many different directions. And one direction is to move it to the level of, you have beginners that can also learn, as well as advanced, as well as anybody in the middle, right?
Yeah, because I think maybe the
Give me 1 second, Liliana. I'm sorry.
hi Juan.
Hi.
Yes, go ahead, Liliana. Yeah.
No, I think they need yes, maybe
Huh?
so
Yeah.
I have to
No.
leave maybe 15 minutes before
15 minutes before the end of class, right?
yes, before you end in the classes.
Sure. No, that's great. That's great. No problems. As long as you can stay, that'll be really fun.
Yeah, because this topic, preposition of place, I think is the topic of the class.
Yes. I think you've already studied this, right?
Yes, it's very important to me because I always confuse these prepositions. Yes, I'm interested in the topic.
Great. No, fantastic. It's really good to see that we have good lessons for you guys. So absolutely.
So now you work a lot in Colingo, no?
Yeah. I'm working a lot more in Colingo. I'm actually still figuring out my. I'm applying to graduate schools, and I'm also applying to other kinds of other kind of online programs and things like that. So that's why I'm interested to see how things work out. But yeah.
If, I don't know if you don't mind if I ask you what are you studying now?
Oh no, that's fine. I'm not actually studying anything particularly right now. I'm applying to graduate school for the fall of next year, so 1 year from now. And I'm just working for startups. I'm working for 2 startups. So Colingo is a startup, and also I'll be working for this other startup starting next week. So.
A startup? Sorry, I don't understand. What is startup?
Yeah, a startup is just a type of company that is started by young people, using technology and those kinds of things. So just like, Colingo is actually a startup. Colingo isn't this, it's not like Microsoft or Apple, right? It's a small company made by a small group of people. So yeah, I'm working on companies like that because I like it. For 2 years, I was working for a very large company, and I didn't enjoy a lot of my time because I was so busy. I felt like I wasn't learning anything.
Yes, it happened to me too. I work for a big company in a call center as a supervisor. But no, it's how can I say that? A daily routine. It was a daily routine for me, and I think I was stuck in the same area. So yes, I didn't learn anything new. So now I'm looking for a job, but a different kind of job. Maybe something like yes, a part-time job, or that you enjoy time with friends, or you can have time to enjoy with family and friends, because in these works like call centers, you don't have enough time to share with family.
Yeah.
It's only for work and working all the time.
Absolutely, and it's one of those things that makes it difficult to actually do anything meaningful. I feel like, because your life is just dictated by the clock, right? 100%.
Yes, you're right.
So it makes it difficult.
But I think it's a good job, no? Because you can meet, or yes, you can meet people from over the world.
Yes.
In this as a teacher, as an English teacher in Colingo. It it has been a good experience, no, for all of you.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I really enjoy, speaking with you guys because every time I have a class, this is the only time that I can actually have a conversation with people from so many different backgrounds, That's what makes it very, very, enjoyable for me.
And you can work from home.
Yeah, I
So
can work from
much.
home, exactly. It's a big advantage. So even my other job is going to be um, in terms of working from home. I can design my own schedule. I can design what I want, So that's what makes it very, very fun for me, also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how long ago have you been working for Colin?
I started working for Colingo in July, actually, so it's been about 3 months, almost 3 months now. So yeah, I've really enjoyed it. I think it's been a great experience, and I want to see how I can help more. Not teaching I really enjoy, but if I can also help with the in the actual company, if I can do different kinds of things. So I'm excited. I'm really excited. We have that freedom now. I think in this is the first generation, right? That we are able to work from home and connect with people from all over the world. And just to really, I think the possibilities are almost limitless, right? When it comes to what we see. Yeah,
That's true.
it's really fun. So Liliana, did you get a chance to open the PDF by any chance that I sent you on Facebook?
Yes,